Coming up next on this special edition of Arizona Horizon, a local author shares the remarkable story of a World War II concentration camp survivor. Also tonight, a new book chronicles 111 places in Phoenix that are not to be missed. And local author Christina Estes talks about her new Phoenix-based murder mystery. The stories and more next on this special edition of Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to this special authors edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A local author is sharing a story involving a survivor of World War II German concentration camps. The book is titled Henry, and it's an account of love, loss, and loyalty as it takes on some of the lesser-known evils of the Holocaust. We welcome the book's author, Katrina Shawver, to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We should mention that this book has been out a while now, but it's got legs, doesn't it?
It has legs. There's a certain part of history that is timeless.
Yes.
But also timely.
Yes.
And so it stays current and it's out there. It's done well.
And the subtitle is A Polish Swimmer's True Story of Friendship from Auschwitz to America. Henry is Henry Zaguda. Who is Henry Zaguda?
Henry Zaguda was a gentleman I met just randomly on a phone tip. Someone's like, Katrina, you need to meet this gentleman. And I was writing in the Arizona Republic and I liked finding interesting people. So we met. He was 85, had no children and no siblings. And I just had this gut instinct he had a story. And there was no one getting it.
And he had a story. He was a champion swimmer in Poland, correct?
Right, before swimming was a really big deal.
Yes.
His mom was a single mom because so many dads died during the war. These are skinny guys. Henry is the second guy on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 16, and there he is in front of St. Mary's.
Yes.
Downtown Krakow.
And in front of St. Mary's, this is important because when we hear about Holocaust survivors and German concentration camp survivors, we think of Jewish people. This man was not Jewish.
Correct. The Holocaust is a horrible genocide that happened, but it's a subset, especially of what happened in Poland. 6 million Poles lost their lives. 3 million were Jewish, 3 million were not, because Poland was also devastated by both Hitler and Stalin.
Yes.
And for various historical reasons, Germany and Russia hated Poland, were determined to ruin Poland, and one of the first things you do is you arrest and kill the leaders, and then you arrest anyone else that could fight against you.
Including a champion swimmer named Henry Zaguda, who winds up in Auschwitz and Buchenwald?
Correct. Auschwitz was only about 40 kilometers from Krakow, and Auschwitz opened in June 1940, long before there was a final solution. It was a repurposed Polish army camp, and it was used because there were overflowing prisons. They were arresting so many Poles.
Yeah.
And until 1942, most people don't realize the majority of prisoners there were Polish.
And he was arrested because he was a political prisoner for being Polish.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. How did he survive these concentration camps?
He always said, Katrina, I'm nobody special. I was lucky and I knew someone. And there's a story in there where he had almost died within 6 weeks. And a friend of his who had been the goalie on the water polo team from the YMCA rescued him, got him a job in the kitchen at Auschwitz. And if you think about that, that's only 50 men out of 22,000 at that time. And so being in the kitchen, he was with elites, and he had a view into a lot of history others didn't see.
Yeah, I'll bet. Did it help him survive by being Catholic?
No, what helped him survive is, one, he had 6 years of German language.
Ah, okay.
You had a longer lifespan if you spoke German.
Interesting.
And he went in strong. You know, a lot of people, if you were older and arrested and professors, you were not in good shape. He went in as an athlete.
Yeah.
And that helps so much. But then his connections.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of luck with every survival story.
How did he get to America after release?
Interesting. He actually went back to Poland after the war. He was liberated in Dachau. And at that time, he wanted to see his mother. He could have gone to the States. He could have gone to Canada, but he couldn't leave his mother.
Yeah.
And he always said that was one of the worst things he did because he didn't understand the communists would be ruling Poland. So he ended up, after hiding out for a year, got a job through a friend in the camps as the swim and water polo coach for the Polish National Army team. And he stayed with them until 1956. He would work with communists, but he never joined the Communist Party.
Wow.
And when they were ready to send him for re-education, through connections he had made, he defected to the U.S. In the 1950s.
And how did he make it to Arizona?
Interesting question. He actually ended up in New York City.
Sure.
And had a lot of connections there. You have to read the book. But he eventually retired here in 1985. His wife had a sister here. So he came here in 85 and retired.
Okay, he comes here in 85 and he retires and he meets, what, a reporter from the Arizona Republic? How did this reporter find Henry Zaguda?
This reporter in 2002 got a phone call from a gentleman who doesn't even remember giving me that phone call.
Wow.
Katrina, I have a gentleman you need to write. He's Polish. He survived Auschwitz and Buchenwald. Oh, and this was special. He went to high school with Pope John Paul.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Which I explain and justify as best I can. We think he did.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but that's a hook. Would you like to meet this man? What reporter wouldn't?
Sure.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, if you had the chance to interview someone who was there, like someplace in your social study text, and you could ask them questions that you couldn't ask anyone else, would you go for it?
Of course you would. But the question is, would he go for it? Did he want his story told?
I met him when he was 85, and I had younger kids and I was working, and I was like, what am I doing? And a good friend said, Katrina, if you wait till you have time, he'll be gone.
Yeah.
So I made the time and we interviewed for 6 months.
And he was cooperative? He wanted it done?
He wanted the story out there. His wife was from the Bronx. He met her over here. And she was determined that he get his story out there.
Was it difficult to write?
Parts of it were, because you can only listen to so much concentration camp horrors. But he made me promise not to just write about the war. And this intrigued me about this gentleman. He's like, Katrina, I lived through hell for 3 years, but I had an amazing life. So don't just write the bad parts.
And there is humor and optimism in there, isn't there? I mean, the book includes some of that.
Yeah. I mean, he was kind of like a Polish Forrest Gump. I would be talking and he would recognize names and places, and we clicked.
Yeah.
You wouldn't spend that much time with someone you didn't like in the first place.
Yeah. Last question, and this is so interesting. You have books here. These are foreign language. These are books in Poland?
Correct.
Released in
Polish
Poland?
and Czech Republic.
Polish. Okay, last question. For these readers, for all readers, what do you want to take from it? What's the message of this book?
That there were a wide range of people who were persecuted, and Poland suffered more than any other country. And they deserve credit for what they went through.
Well, congratulations on this book. It's really fantastic. And as we said, it may have been released a few years ago, but it's still going strong. Katrina, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte, the groundbreaking program that has served as a platform for Arizona's Latino community for more than 2 decades.
Latinos care about issues across the board, just like everyone else.
There's a lot of diversity in thought and opinion. We just need to make sure parents understand the value in having multilingual students.
We like to hear our voices heard. Stream episodes online at azpbs.org, YouTube, or on the PBS app.
I love working at Arizona PBS for many reasons.
The people. I'm fortunate to work with some really talented individuals.
I was shocked, like I was going to work for the place that produced Sesame Street.
I love that we have such a strong community impact.
Because I get to tell the stories of Arizona.
Really, there's no job more fulfilling than using your skills and talents and abilities to enrich your communities.
The creativity and the passion of my colleagues.
It's just a great place and I love being here.
Arizona PBS deeply appreciates every gift we receive, and we are proud to take this moment and recognize our Executive Society. These supporters believe in the mission of public media and are making a real impact in our community. If you would like to make an annual gift and join the Arizona PBS Executive Society, please call the number on your screen or visit azpbs.org/membership.
There's a new book out that's a kind of travel guide with locals in mind. The book is titled 111 Places in Phoenix That You Must Not Miss, and it dives into the heart of Phoenix to find its best-kept secrets, natural wonders, and inspiring people. We found out more from the author of the local travelogue, Travis Swan. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks for having me on.
Congratulations on the book. Why did you write this? This is an interesting idea. Where'd it come from?
It comes from the publisher. It's a family-owned publishing company in Cologne, Germany. They have thousands of books. They have hundreds of books in the series for cities all over the world. Cologne's lucky number is 11. That would make for a very short book. So they added one to it. That's how they came up with 111.
Wow. I was going to ask why 100. I mean, 111. It's 111. I get that.
Right,
but
right.
It's from the publishing company.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right. How did you decide? I mean, 111 is a lot, so you probably didn't have to do too much winnow, but eventually someone's got to go. How did you decide what went in and what didn't?
So the contents are very diverse, so geographically and topic. So you have a few restaurants, a few parks, a few of this and that. So that plays into the selection. The other is I've been to every single place in the book.
Yeah.
So, filtering through, what I think other people would like, what I like.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at some of these things, and I want to start with a silver service. This is a battleship silver service from the USS Arizona.
It is.
What are we looking at here?
So this is special to me. I served in the U.S. Navy, so when I found this was like fantastic. It's the formal silver service from the USS Arizona, and it was taken off the ship in January of '41 before the Arizona was sunk in Pearl Harbor. So they knew that war was impending, so they took the service off. So it was first put on the ship in 1919.
Wow.
So it was there for a very long time.
And that's at the Capitol Museum, is it not?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like 60-something pieces, and it's all on display.
Isn't that something? All right, let's keep it moving here. We got Bernie the Robot. I think Bernie the Robot's like just a few blocks from here, right?
He is. I've met people who've worked downtown for decades and have never seen him. So I also love that the address is 111 Monroe. So another reason I had to put him in
All
here.
right, well, you had to get that in there. There's an idea behind this, isn't there?
There is. So the sculptor, Doug Boyd, he found himself hiking the Sierra Nevada mountains, and he noticed all of a sudden that he was tied to his phone, using GPS, taking photos, instead of enjoying the beauty of the nature that he was in. So he thought, took it further, what if humans became robots, and then the robots discovered things that humans had abandoned. So this is kind of his message to people to put down the devices once in a while, connect with other humans and nature.
If a robot can read a book, you can read a book.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. We got Licks Uptown Ice Cream, an ice cream show. What's this about?
Yeah, so that's my friend Janine. So the owner and flavor creator, Rich Dolan, is brilliant. His flavors that tie into childhood memories, Strawberry Quick or Nutter Butter, but then also flavors like fig and goat cheese, personal favorite.
My goodness.
But they're all lactose free.
Yeah, this is Uptown Ice Cream?
Licks Uptown Ice Cream.
Where's it located?
7th and 7th Avenue.
Melrose, is it the Melrose area?
Yeah.
Somewhere, okay, all right. Penske Racing Museum, we got Indy cars next. After ice cream, we go to Indy cars.
Yeah, so some of again, it's very diverse.
Yes.
So this is one of those places that you're not just going to happen upon. You have to know either someone tells you about it or you're going to buy a car from Penske. Some of these cars won the Indy 500, and they range from manufacturers like Ford to Porsche. And it's a very small museum. It's 2 stories. Number of race cars, engines, trophies.
Where located?
Great little find. Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale. Okay. All right. I know where this is. Our next is a saguaro. And it's that crested. That is iconic.
Yes,
that is.
It really is.
Desert Botanical Gardens, right?
This is the Desert Botanical Garden. Yes, they have one. So this is a very rare saguaro. There's only one in about every 200,000 that are crested.
Yes.
I've only seen 3 since I've been here, and the garden has 1.
Yeah.
So if you go ask about it, it's
Yeah,
worth
yeah,
seeing.
an iconic figure there. All right, the last one is really interesting. It's Steven Spielberg's directorial debut, and that looks like this was with the Phoenix Theater. What's going on here?
Phoenix Theater Company. So they've been around for a very, very, very long time. So Spielberg, when he was 17, debuted his very first film at what was then Little Phoenix Theater. And when you get to the theater, the box office, this hallway to the right is a big picture of Steven as we know him today, and it tells the story about how his first film was debuted there. And this hallway leading to the theaters, they light up red on performance nights, so it's kind of a red carpet experience.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as Spielberg, you got like 3.5 minutes of a science fiction film from 1964. He was a kid.
Yeah, definitely. There are only that many, those few minutes that still exist. You can see them online. But you can sign it. Later on, he put out Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
And if you see the footage from his original movie, you can see some hints or nods that inspired
Interesting.
Close Encounters.
We've got about like 20 seconds left here. What do you want people to take from this book?
Go out and explore your own backyard.
Yeah.
That's what the book is for. It's like places that even locals might not know about. Enjoy it.
Good stuff. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Travis Swan, again, 111 places in Phoenix that you must not miss. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Award-winning local journalist and author Christina Estes is back with the second murder mystery in her Jolene Garcia series. The book is titled The Story That Wouldn't Die, and it deals with murder, potential corruption at City Hall, and efforts to have the story, and maybe even Jolene Garcia, killed. We spoke to Christina Estes about her new book. Christina Estes joins us now. Congratulations on the book.
What a setup, Ted. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this is book number 2. Does it feel any different than book number 1?
So the process right now feels, when I was here last time, I was nervous and geeky, and this time I feel excited and geeky.
Yeah, good. As long as you keep the geeky, that's all we care about. But you've kind of gone through the process now. Yeah. You also went through the process of writing a book. First time, I would imagine, again, a little anxious. Was it any better this time?
It was better because I knew that my writing was better, and I also felt the story was better. And I also knew I didn't really have to worry about whether it was just going to sit in a drawer for the rest of my life, that I had a deadline, and so you needed to finish it.
That makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah,
when you know when you know it's going to get published, as to I hope it's going to get. Okay, who is Jolene Garcia?
Jolene is a Phoenix TV reporter. She's 29 years old, from the Midwest, who feels like a complete fish out of water in Phoenix. She is fictional, but I draw that part from me. I remember being a fish out of water when I moved here from the Midwest when I was in my late 20s, and so I'm able to recall those feelings in writing her.
Her relationship with her bosses and with her co-workers. Describe, as best you can, overview of that.
Interesting. How about that?
Yes.
Jolene has a favorite photographer, which many reporters do, just like many photographers have favorite reporters. And her favorite photographer is named Nate, and he sometimes calls her out because she goes too far sometimes, because she is very ambitious and persistent as a reporter, but she's also not just seeking recognition to break a story and to be first, but also seeking some recognition that she did not get in her childhood. So sometimes all of that combines, and she does some questionable things.
Yeah, we learn a little bit about that, but not too much. You don't give away too much about that. It's kind of interesting. Well, let's leave it alone with that. There's a lot of City Hall intrigue here. There's lots of bureaucratic intrigue. My question, because as I was reading, I was thinking, boy, how is she keeping all these things square? How do you keep it together? How do you know which person is which person and where they're going?
You know what? My brilliant editor, Maddie Hout, told me, you need to remind the reader of why the person is in the story. So it was an edit that, I know you read an early copy, so you didn't read the finished one, which addressed that. But because there are so many characters, and because we will read books that sometimes will take us weeks, sometimes months,
right.
So you don't sit down and you're like, Ted Simons, who was he? You just need to remind.
Well, and I did notice that. I think it almost at the end of chapters is when I notice it the most. It's like, oh yeah, she's doing a nice job of making sure we remember who this person is and why this person is doing this sort of thing. That was a technique. That was planned.
It was. And you know what? I see that now as a reader, and I'm like,
yes,
brilliant.
Yes, and when you don't see it as a reader, you go, hey, wait a minute.
Yes.
Did any of these characters, because again, lots of characters, and it's not, I wouldn't call it complicated, but it's not like an easy kind of a breezy sort of a read. There's a lot going on here. How did you make sure that they went in the right direction and these characters didn't just go all falling all over themselves wherever they want to go?
Well, I covered City Hall for 9 years. So certainly my experiences and the people I encountered inspired the characters. This is fictional. However, Ted, I'm going to test your knowledge. Do you remember 8 or 9 years ago, this is total insider stuff, Greg Stanton was mayor.
Yes.
He got stuck in the elevator at City Hall.
Yes, I do remember that.
And that's how the book opens, with Jolene responding to the mayor stuck in the elevator.
I will say this is a very different mayor than Mayor Stanton.
Yes.
He's
Let's
got
be clear,
an interesting
fictional.
family as well. The response from local politicians, obviously this book is coming out tomorrow, so we haven't had too much response on this. Yeah. But in general, from reporters in town, besides the fact that there are no characters that are Arizona PBS hosts, charming, loquacious,
Next book.
Okay, all right. But besides that fault, what are you hearing as far as response? Do people say, I know you're writing about me?
Well, you know what's funny is there's a lot of speculation about who JJ is, which is Jolene's nemesis.
Oh boy, yeah, yes.
So there's a lot of speculation about that. But local people who are in the media really appreciate the some of the sarcasm and some of the poking fun at management and social media and things that they really can't say because they're still in those positions.
Right. Well, and anyone who's worked in television news understands and realizes and sees that, although now with social media it is so much different than it used to be, but sees that dynamic.
Yeah, it has totally changed the way that local news, commercial news is produced, for sure.
So, with that book in your hand, is it the way, did it finish? Did the story end, the climax and everything, did it happen the way you envisioned it when you started writing?
Mostly. I sort of left a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But that's a little almost separate and apart from some of the other aspects of the story.
Something really big happens to Jolene, and I didn't know how it was going to continue, and so I was like, I think I need to leave it there.
Okay.
And let the reader decide how they want it to end.
Yeah. But between that and the first page, pretty much how you planned it?
Well, you know what I didn't plan? I didn't plan a career change where I'm now working at City Hall. So that's a little weird.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say some eyebrows raised there. So doesn't necessarily put City Hall on the best, but we won't go any further with that. So I'm guessing there's another Jolene Garcia novel coming down the bend, yeah?
I totally want to know what people think and what they would like to see happen based on the way that this sort of ends. My heart is telling me something, and we'll see what Jolene tells me.
Research. Do you do research on these books?
Well, this is very kind of easily researched because it was based on my 9 years of covering City Hall. And so I knew how the city operated. I attended countless city council meetings and community meetings where I saw how policies and passions really affected us in our daily lives. There is a serious story thread in the book about development and displacement, and that was completely drawn from my experiences reporting.
Is Hollywood or Netflix, are they calling yet? Are they?
Well, get on them, Ted.
Oh, okay, all right. That's the only way to get my name in the book, huh?
That is a great deal.
Yeah, there we go. We're working a deal there. But I mean, it sounds like this would work, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would be flattered if somebody wanted to make it into a streaming series, which is kind of what I think it would work better than a movie.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me when I hear, because for some authors, that's like the end all be all. Like they really want that. And this was my baby. I love my baby. It's perfect the way it is. Not perfect, but I'm happy with it the way it is.
You should be happy with it. Congratulations
Thank
again
you.
on book number 2. Christina Estes, The Story That Wouldn't Die. And you just keep writing them and we'll keep reading them. How's that?
Thank you. That's a great deal.
Good
Thanks.
to have you here. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Arizona Horizon. You have a great evening.